The fighting now continues without the aid of the immortals. Menelaus catches a Trojan alive who begs for his life. "Take me alive, Atreides, take a ransom worth my life. Treasures are piled up in my rich father's house, bronze and gold and plenty of well-wrought iron. Father would give you anything, gladly, priceless ransom, if only he learns I'm still alive in Argive ships." Menelaus is moved by this, but his brother Agamemnon shouts at him. "So soft, dear brother, why? Why such concern for enemies? I suppose you got such tender loving care at home from the Trojans. Ah, would to God not one of them could escape his sudden plunging death beneath our hands. No baby boy still in his mother's belly, not even he escape. All Ilium blotted out, no tears for their lives, no markers for their graves." And so they kill the man. Then Nestor comes by and urges the Achaeans to stop looting and plundering the dead bodies. Helenus, a son of Priam, who has about 50 children, Helenus rallies the Trojans on and tells Hector to go back to Troy to tell their mother, Hecabe, to gather all the old noble women to pray and sacrifice to Athena in order to stop the rampage of Diomedes. Hector then returns to Troy. Diomedes and Glaucus, a Trojan, meet in the middle of the fighting, and Diomedes asks who he is. Glaucus tells him in a very long bit of dialogue, and Diomedes realizes that his grandfather once hosted the grandfather of Glaucus. So he urges Glaucus not to fight him, and that they should trade armor. They shake hands and do this, but Homer tells us that Glaucus gives up his much more valuable golden armor. Hector arrives at Troy and is asked by many about their sons, brothers, friends, and husbands, but Hector only tells them, "Pray to the gods." In the palace of Priam, Hector finds his mother. She offers him wine to offer to Zeus and drink, but Hector refuses it and tells her to gather the old noble women and sacrifice and pray to Athena to stop Diomedes. Hecabe does this, but Athena refuses to listen to her prayers. Hector then goes to Paris, who is with Helen, polishing his armor and bow. Hector says to him, "What on earth are you doing? Oh, how wrong it is, this anger you keep smoldering in your heart. Look, your people dying around the city, the steep walls, dying in arms, and all for you, the battle cries and the fighting flaring up around the citadel. You'd be the first to lash out at another, anywhere you saw hanging back from this hateful war. Up with you, before all Troy is torched to a cinder here and now." Paris responds and says that he will join the fighting shortly once he gets his armor on. Hector says nothing, and Helen speaks to him. "My dear brother, dear to me, bitch that I am, vicious, scheming, horror to freeze the heart. Oh, how I wish that first day my mother brought me into the light, some black whirlwind had rushed me out to the mountains, or into the surf where the roaring breakers crash and drag, and the waves had swept me off before all this happened. But since the gods ordained it all these desperate years, I wish I had been the wife of a better man, someone alive to outrage the withering scorn of man. This one has no steadiness in his spirit, not now, he never will. And he's going to reap the fruits of it, I swear. But come in, rest on this seat with me, dear brother. You are the one hit hardest by the fighting, Hector, you more than all. And all for me, whore that I am, and this blind, mad Paris. Oh, the two of us, Zeus planted a killing doom within us both. So even for generations still unborn, we will live in song." Hector refuses, saying that he must go see his wife and child, then return to battle. Hector goes to his house, but he cannot find his wife, Andromache. So he asks the servants where she is, and they tell him that she has gone with their son to the gate tower to watch the fighting, as she has heard that it isn't going well for the Trojans. Hector speeds off and finds Andromache at the Scaean gates. As he smiles down at his little son Astyanax, Andromache, his wife, crying, speaks. "Reckless one, my Hector, your own fiery courage will destroy you. Have you no pity for him, our helpless son, or me, and the destiny that weighs me down, your widow, now so soon? Yes, soon they will kill you off, all the Achaean forces massed for assault, and then, bereft of you, better for me to sink beneath the earth. What other warmth, what comfort's left for me, once you have met your doom? Nothing but torment. I have lost my father, mother's gone as well. Father, the brilliant Achilles laid him low when he stormed Cilicia's city filled with people, Thebae with her towering gates. He killed Aetion, not that he stripped his armor, he'd some respect at least, for he burned his corpse in all his blazoned bronze, then heaped a grave mound high above the ashes, and nymphs of the mountain planted elms around it, daughters of Zeus, whose shield is storm and thunder. And the 7 brothers I had within our halls, all in the same day went down to the house of death. The great godlike runner Achilles butchered them all, tending their shambling oxen, shining flocks. And mother, who ruled under the timberline of woody Placos once, he no sooner hailed her here with his other plunder than he took a priceless ransom, set her free, and home she went to her father's royal halls, where Artemis, showering arrows, shot her down. You, Hector, you are my father now, my noble mother, a brother too, and you are my husband, young and warm and strong. Pity me, please. Take your stand on the rampart here before you orphan your son and make your wife a widow. Draw your armies up where the wild fig tree stands, there where the city lies most open to assault. The walls lower, easily overrun. 3 times they have tried that point, hoping to storm Troy, their best fighters led by the great and little Ajax, famous Idomeneus, Atreus' sons, valiant Diomedes. Perhaps a skilled prophet revealed the spot, or their own fury whips them on to attack. And Hector responds, "All this weighs on my mind too, dear woman, but I would die of shame to face the men of Troy and the Trojan women trailing their long robes if I would shrink back from battle now, a coward. Nor does the spirit urge me on that way. I've learned it all too well. To stand up bravely, always to fight in the front ranks of Trojan soldiers, winning my father great glory, glory for myself. For in my heart and soul I know this well, the day will come when sacred Troy must die, Priam must die, and all his people with him, Priam who hurls the strong ash spear. Even so, it is less the pain of the Trojans still to come that weighs me down, not even of Hecate herself, or King Priam, or the thought that my own brothers and all their numbers, all their gallant courage, may tumble in the dust, crushed by enemies. That is nothing, nothing beside your agony, when some brazen Argive hails you off in tears, wrenching away your day of light and freedom. Then far off in the land of Argos you must live, laboring at the loom, at another woman's beck and call, fetching water at some spring, Messius or Hyperia, resisting it all the way, the rough yoke of necessity at your neck. And a man may say who sees your streaming tears, "There is the wife of Hector, the bravest fighter they could field, those stallion-breaking Trojans, long ago when the men fought for Troy." So he will say, and the fresh grief will swell your heart once more, widowed, robbed of the one man strong enough to fight off your day of slavery. No, No, let the earth come piling over my dead body before I hear your cries. I hear you dragged away. And Hector reaches down for his son, but the boy recoils away, screaming at the sight of Hector with his helmet on. Hector laughs and takes the helmet off, picks his son up and kisses him. He prays to Zeus. Zeus, all you immortals, grant this boy, my son, may be like me, first in glory among the Trojans, strong and brave like me, and rule all Troy in power, and one day let them say, he is a better man than his father, when he comes home from battle bearing the bloody gear of the mortal enemy he has killed in war, a joy to his mother's heart. Hector hands his son to Andromache and notices her tears. Andromache, dear one, why so desperate? Why so much grief for me? No man will hurl me down to death against my fate. And fate? No man alive has ever escaped it. Neither brave man nor coward, I tell you. It's born with us the day that we are born. So please go home and tend to your own tasks, the distaff and the loom, and keep the women working hard as well. As for the fighting, men will see to that, all who were born in Troy, but I most of all. Hector and Andromache then go their separate ways, Andromache back to the house and Hector back to the fighting with his brother Paris.